Hey everybody, so this week we're going to actually break down how to take 2 steps. Last week with assignment 3, Caleb broke down how to take 1 step. This is leading into us taking our 8 count phrases when we get into basics. So today we're going to work on how to take that 2nd step, and this is going to make the rest of your steps so much easier, okay? So first we're going to start with a review of assignment 3. That was the first step. We're going to do a quick review of facing this way and then facing forward, and then we're going to go into how to take that 2nd step, and that'll snowball into actually your drill that you're going to be doing later in the season. Okay, so first of all, we want to talk about how you're actually standing. So don't forget you're going to be in the first position, like we talked about, having that nice open pizza slice and at the with the angle of the feet. You're going to be facing this way. You want to lift up as much as you can, making sure you have a nice confident presence, and you want to place your hands on your hips as we're going through this whole exercise. When you take that first step, you want to make sure you're pushing all of your weight forward. That way that you're not just sticking your foot out and leaning your body back to counteract the weight. You want to push all of your weight forward because we're actually going to be taking more than 1 step. So your body weight has to travel as you go. So let's break down that first step real quick one more time before we go into the 2nd step. So you want to lift up nice and tall, place your hands on your hips. Think of exuding confidence the entire time. Don't forget, with all of these exercises, you're going to want to use a metronome, okay? If you aren't able to use a metronome because you're recording on your phone, find another device, borrow your parents or your friends, somebody else's device to be able to actually use that metronome, okay? We want to make sure that you're keeping a consistent tempo through all of these exercises. So, breaking down the first step real quick. Also, we are going to be doing all of our assignments at 100 beats per minute when we specify. So this one is going to be 100 beats per minute so that you can break down and actually feel what you're doing in the exercise. It's a nice slow tempo. So facing this direction, you're going to want to lift up as much as you can. You're going to want to place your hands on your hips. All right, you're going to push your body weight forward, keeping your heel low to the ground and lifting up in your toe and lifting up in your heel and the back foot. It's key to make sure that our legs are staying straight. We don't see this taking the first step. It's a nice straight leg push all the way out. It's going to be a slight lift going into it, okay? It's key to make sure that we're not going up and 1, okay? It's a straight push forward. And 5, 6, 7, push and 1, okay? Don't forget it's a 1 count push. So starting on count 8, push and 1, all right? We're going to make sure we land on that first beat. Make sure you find that and count. That's going to come in handy when we get into further steps, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, facing this direction, let's break down how we're going to take 1 step. Don't forget, lift up as much as possible, look nice and confident, hands on your hips. And 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, push and 1. Notice that my heel came off the ground, or that my toe came off the ground, my heel came off the ground, and my heel in the left leg was nice and low to the ground. Also, don't forget, we're always stepping off with our left foot, okay? Always your left foot. Make sure that you always step off with your left foot. What foot do you step off on? I feel like Dora. So you guys got to make sure you step off with your left foot. So you're constantly going to push your weight forward, keeping your heel low to the ground, your toe coming up, your heel and this leg coming off the ground, and making sure we're keeping straight legs, okay? Now, your weight is not going to stay back like we talked about. It's going to make sure that you're pushing all of your weight forward. So that's 1 step. Now we're going to expand a little bit further in assignment 5 on how to take 2 steps. So facing this direction, 2 step is a little bit, it's like the first step that you take, but it's a little bit bigger and a little bit more modified. So I'm going to back up just a little bit so you guys have a little bit more room. You also want to make sure you have a big area to work with. Unfortunately, I do have to stand on my porch right now because it is drizzling a little bit, but it's okay. So, taking that 2nd step is not much different than the first one. It's just a little bit modified and making sure that you're taking a bigger step. So the first step, 5, 6, 7, push and 1, that's going to be your first step. But your 2nd step, you have to travel the same distance that your foot did for that, plus another set. So if another step. So you have to make sure you're moving twice the distance. So when you actually break this down, if this is the distance for the first one, think about the distance that your left foot traveled from the starting position to this position, and then think about your 2nd foot, how far it has to travel. Now, a good medium to try to find where your foot is actually placing, when you're listening to the tempo, you're going to hear what's called a subdivision. We're going to use subdivisions a lot in marching band. You're going to be worrying about that with your music, with your feet, and everything. So the subdivision you want to think about is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 1. Now when I say and, that's splitting every note. Now that and is actually when our feet come back together on the motion. So if your first step is on count 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, the second step, when you hear 1 and 2, the second step, your feet are going to come together. It's what's called a pass-through, or a cross, is when your feet are actually coming together, and then we're going to finish the motion and land on count 2, like we do when we count. So the whole thing is going to be 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1 and 2. Okay, if you notice, when I said the and was when we actually crossed through with the right foot and then landed at the second beat. Make sure that you're following that the entire time when we're going through all of this. So, we're going to do it one more time facing this direction, and then we're going to break it down facing front so you can actually see what my legs are doing facing from the front. Now, a big thing I want you to notice while we're taking all of these steps is that my legs are actually staying straight the entire time. You'll never see me do this, okay? Also, when we finally get into backwards marching, it's going to look real goofy if you start doing this, because you're going to look like a horse trotting backwards. So moving forward, we want to make sure we're lifting up nice and high, going through our checklist, making sure that our hands are on our hips, taking the first step, 5, 6, 7, push, and 1, taking a full count to push. Now we're going to reset. Now we're going to take 2 steps, 5, 6, 7, push, and 1, cross, 2. Now you notice when I said cross, my feet landed in that position like we just talked about a second ago. Now we're going to break down facing forward so you guys can see what it looks like from this direction. Same thing that we talked about going from this direction, all you're doing is turning your body. So facing front, and 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, push, and 1, cross, 2. So making sure that you're going through that entire checklist, your heel staying low to the ground, that your back heel comes off the ground when you take that step. Stepping off with the left foot, making sure that your legs are straight. And we always need to make sure we're exuding confidence through all of this. We can't see this when we go to step off. 5, 6, 7, push, and 1, cross, 2. And you completely lose all confidence, and then your body structure completely goes away. Okay, we need to make sure we're keeping that confidence the entire time. So let's do it one more time facing forward, and then I'll go through what your guys' assignment is going to be for the week. So lifting up, going through our checklist, making sure we're looking nice and confident. Now, if you want to know what you need to look like to be confident, go through the Hindu, like we went with the first week. Go through the Hindu. Instead of ending here, you're going to end here. And you should be exuding nothing but confidence. Okay, so let's face forward. We're going to go through this one last time. And 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, push, and 1, cross, 2. Making sure that our feet are hitting at that exact time. Now, your assignment for this week is very easy. So we're actually going to morph together the assignment 3 and the assignment assignment 5, the 2-step. We're going to morph those together to where it's actually both of them into one assignment. So what I mean when I say that is that instead of us just going 5, 6, 7, push, and 1, cross, 2, holding it for a minute and then going and resetting, and doing that over and over, we're going to go 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, push, and 1, and reset, 6, 7, push, and 1, cross, 2, 4, reset, and 5, 6, 7, push, and 1, and reset, 6, 7, push, and 1, cross, 2. Alright, and you're going to do that 8 times. So you're going to go and take the first step, 1, 2, 3, 4, reset, 6, 7, push, and 1, cross, 2, hold, 2, 3, 4, reset, 2, ready, and 1. We're going to go through that the entire time, all right? So it's very easy. I want you guys to work on that a lot this week. That's not an easy thing. And the big thing to remember is that the first 2 steps are the most key steps that we're going to do this entire time, okay? Those first 2 steps set us up with success for the rest of the season. So we have to make sure that those first 2 steps are absolutely perfect before we move on to the rest. And we're going to be doing all sorts of crazy stuff like I told you guys about in the first video, and how our bodies are going to be moving and how we're going to be dancing, as you guys are seeing with the stuff you're doing with Kayla and all of the dance feature and all of that. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of, dance exercise, not dance feature. It's going to be a lot that you have to be able to do. So if you nail this stuff now, what you're going to do towards the end of the season is going to be exponentially better. All right? I can't wait to see what you guys submit. Also, another note that I want to put out there, assignment 1, the Passe and the Hindu, was due this week. I have already started putting out responses. responses should be coming through email. So make sure that you're going through your email and reading those comments and applying that to what you're going to be doing in the future. Now, all of these assignments that we're doing, assignment 1, the stuff we did in week 1, when we actually do all the Hindu and all that, that's not just stuff we're doing in week 1. That's stuff we're going to be doing all season. So make sure you're reviewing that throughout the entire season. All right, I'm excited to see what you guys submit, and make sure you submit it on time.